everyone, I'm Sandra, Director of Special Events for the Wine Library, and this is episode 10 of Wine Library's Food and Wine with me, Sandra. So I am thrilled and honored to be sitting here next to a man who needs no introduction at all. However, I'm going to introduce you anyway. Legendary winemaker from the Napa Valley who produces wines of critical acclaim vintage to vintage. One of the most charismatic producers I have ever met, and that's an understatement, and owner and winemaker of Anderson's Con Valley and a great friend of mine, Mr. Todd Anderson. Todd, thank you so much for being here today. I know your schedule is super crazy, super hectic, so I so appreciate that you're here taking a few minutes to chat with me for this month's episode. Thank you so much for being here.
It's my pleasure. My pleasure.
So Todd, listen, I want to talk about the 2011 cab, but before we do that, I want to hear a little bit about you. I don't know about you guys, but when I drink wine, I like to know the story behind it, the history. Especially wine, a wine like of this caliber. I feel more connected to the wine. The whole tasting experience for me is more special when I know a little bit more about the wineries. So Todd, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got involved in the business, and a little bit about the winery.
Well, it's kind of important because emotional aspects of wine are often overlooked, and wine is just something that really brings people together. But I started this 32 years ago. I bailed out of the oil and gas business as a scientist and wanted to get back outdoors and decided to start a vineyard. And so I moved to Napa Valley and bought 40 acres of bare ground and developed the place myself. It was pretty cool because in those days my friends became Robert Mondavi, Louis Martini, Justin Meyer, who started Silver Oak, who gave me 5 acres of budwood for free off the Bonnie's vineyard to start Con Valley.
Very cool.
And Joe Heights, the Carpy Boys, the Raymond Boys, the Wagners. It was just phenomenal. And I learned a lot from these guys in the early days about why they were doing things in terms of grape growing and winemaking. And I started making wine for fun in '82. But then I finally decided I didn't think they were quite capitalizing the parameters that Mother Nature gave, which is going to be important to talk about with this wine. And so when I decided to make my first wine commercial, I ended up being one of the top Cabernets in the world with my first vintage. And it all centers around physiological rightness, which everybody talks about.
Right.
Robert talks about it now, Jim Lobby talks about it,
right.
Everybody talks about it. But I don't think those guys even understand it because I've had them in the cave and I've quizzed them on this kind of stuff.
Really?
So this is a really important vintage to talk about in terms of good vintages versus bad vintages. There's never been a bad vintage in Napa Valley. Well,
that's really why, there's two reasons why I chose this particular wine. This is the 2011 Anderson's Con Valley Estate Reserve Cabernet. I chose it, one, as I said to you earlier, this is one of my favorite wines, and I'm not just saying it because you're sitting here next to me. I also chose it because the most important reason is because of the 2011 vintage, which has gotten a bad rap. 2011 in Napa is supposed to be was a difficult vintage. Cold, wet springs, which kind of affected fruit set. And the cooler than normal summer temperatures, which delayed the ripening of grapes. And then those crazy heavy rains that we heard about in October that affected harvest and in some instances botrytis and some rot. So a lot of customers come in store and they're like, ooh, 2011, no thank you, we're gonna stay away. However, I'm hearing some things that 2011, is it a sleeper vintage? Is it the new 98 where it's gonna go the distance? Is it a collector's dream? So fill us in, clarify us on what is going on with 2011.
It really is going to be the sleeper vintage, just like 98 was, 2000 to some extent. The later harvests usually have more developed flavors in the fruit.
Okay.
And that's the whole goal, is to have the fruit hanging out there as long as possible.
Right.
And really develop, because you can have perfect acid, sugar, and pH, and you're still not going to make a great wine. You really need that physiological ripeness that everybody talks about. And 11 was a later vintage because of some of the things you talked about, and it wasn't bad. The weather just is. And so it's a matter of whether or not you can wait until the fruit really is at the level that you need in terms of ripeness. The big guys sometimes have a hard time to do that because it might take them 20, 30 days to bring their Cabernet in. I can pick this vineyard in 4 days. So I can wait till the fruit's truly ripe.
Right, smaller production.
Smaller
You have
production.
more control over what's going on.
Right.
Right.
But even with the big guys, there's still really, really good wines in 2011. You know, you had one or two guys that gave their personal opinion about not liking the 11s, but I'm like, compared to what? And let me do a blind tasting with you and see if you still have the same opinion. They probably wouldn't.
Well, clearly you did something right. This wine received 95 plus points from Antonio Belloni. So let's taste it.
All right.
I love the color. This deep dark opaque purple.
Typical for Napa.
Yeah, and I love the rim. It's just like a vibrant magenta. Gorgeous fruit.
I mean, it's a huge nose. I mean, this 98 was similar, but 98 really was tight. You had to decant a bottle at breakfast for dinner tomorrow night.
Are you serious?
I mean, it took 36 hours to open up.
You know, I guess
11s, they're a couple hours and they're good to go.
I guess with all the rain and all the stories you heard, you would expect the nose to be not as ripe. But this nose is phenomenal. Black fruit, black cherry, black plum, black currant.
We still
Some licorice.
we still got the ripeness because we waited. Yeah, the wine's gorgeous.
But all the components are perfectly balanced. The acid, the fruit, the tan, and the oak. I mean, this wine is amazing. I love it. And that acidity is vibrant. So you know it's going to go the distance. I mean, years and years. I mean, when would be optimal drinking for you for this?
In my style of winemaking, in most of the new world these days, it's not so much when do you drink it, it's how long do you want to drink it.
Okay.
I mean, this wine is drinking beautifully now.
It is. It really is. And we just opened this up 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, the big red wines that I follow around the world, I usually want to buy 30 bottles because I want to drink it for the next 15 years and have a bottle every 6 months. And that's how I look at this. This is not a wine that I would start waiting 5. Now, if you really love Bordeaux, then maybe wait 5-6 years before you start drinking a big ripe California wine like this, because you will start developing some of the secondary and tertiary flavors and earthiness there. But
there's some sage
Oh,
and
yeah.
some
Yeah.
forest flora. There's beautiful earth and minerality in the wine. I mean, it's gorgeous.
it's why Napa is doing so well. It's that we can put out these wines that are drinkable now and will last. I mean, I tasted with Henri J.A. years ago, and he said, well, I don't think your wines are going to last as long as ours. I said, well, if you didn't count the first 12 years where yours are undrinkable.
Right.
And he goes, yeah, that's a good point. Henri J.A.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fantastic.
Well, guys, this wine is $79.97. We have a few cases left in inventory in our store. So do yourselves a favor. Do your seller a favor. You'll thank me later. Grab a few while you can. Todd, obviously, you're doing something right, man. Your wines are phenomenal. And I know 2011, you're saying it doesn't matter. We were able to handle the vintage. It was not a problem. But the quality of your wine, you have one of the highest rated wines from that vintage. So it's a testament to you and your skill and your talent as a winemaker. So you rock, man.
Thank you very much.
I am so excited that you were here with me today. Guys, you know what to do. You can order online, come in store, call the store, email me. Do not miss out on this amazing, amazing wine. Todd, thank you so much for being here today with me.
My pleasure.
Please come back again.
I'll be like a bad penny. I'll keep showing up.
I'll take it. I love it. I love it. Be sure to look out for my next episode next month. And Todd, I'm Italian, you know that. So we got to take this out the way I do every episode, Napoletana style. So for just the last 30 seconds, can you be Italian with me?
I'll try. I'm 100% Swedish, but we'll give it a whirl.
Close enough. Agop, agop, agop. Abash, abash, abash. Costa, costa, cost. Asaudanost.